What's going on, people? Dumb Orange 927 here, and here with me, guys, I have Dusk Thunder 9, and today we're going to be discussing Halo 5's campaign. Not just the story, but the level design, and just overall how it stands compared to previous Halos and other shooters, and etc. So, with that out of the way, we'll get started. So, yeah, probably the first thing I'll probably want to say is the graphics of the campaign. Now, the first thing I do want to say, though, is, at least in my opinion, I don't know what you think, Dusk Thunder, but I believe the campaign looks way better than its multiplayer side of things.
Yeah, this is actually sort of, it's not just Halo. All games do this. I saw this with Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3. Most games in general just have better looking campaigns than multiplayers. And I don't know why, it's just one of those, I guess it's one of those things. But, that is true, what you said about that.
But I think the campaign overall is nice looking. Like, it's a step ahead of Halo 4 because what Halo 4 did very wrong is, first off, Halo 4's texture quality sucked. As well as, like, Halo 4, it didn't have much dynamic lighting. It was really just, like, you know, you put an energy sword by a wall or I don't know, there's, like, an explosion, but, like, when you draw an energy sword, there's no light around it, or, like, when you throw a grenade, the explosion just looks like a puff of smoke. It doesn't look like, you know, like a big boom.
Yeah, and in Halo 5, they do it better because it's definitely better than Halo 4, but there is a lot that they had to sacrifice for 60 FPS. Like, when a lot is going on, the graphic quality just goes down. Like, you are going to see puffs of smoke as explosions, the water sort of cuts off, there's no splashing effects, and sometimes when you're in, like, large-scale fights, the quality of the textures go down in some ways. It just, like, and they did sacrifice a lot for 60 FPS, and to be honest, I would kind of rather just them do 30 for the campaign, because...
Well, it's like, I like the idea of a 60 FPS campaign, at least in my opinion, but the problem with it is they're willing to sacrifice resolution in HD, you know, resolution and scale, because honestly, I think the reason why the scale of the campaign is so small compared to at least like Halo 3 and stuff is because they wanted to maintain 60 frames per second, because think of it, you can't have so much going on screen without frame rate dips.
I would like, okay, as much as 60 FPS is something that I want in the game, you know, it's not like I'm going to say that's bad. I'd rather not have it than have so much being sacrificed.
Oh, and split screen was sacrificed for it, FYI.
Yeah.
What I would think they should have done is, like, kept the 60 frames per second, but instead of having resolution drops, they should just allow frame rate dips. I can handle a drop to 50 FPS, 50 frames per second, if it means maintaining the cool quality, because I understand that, we can't have everything, but it's like I'd much rather have the frame rate lowered a little bit in these big scale firefights than to have it where the game's quality just looks really pixely and really just not that pretty to look at. Like if you played the level Reunion, for example. Now, say what you will about the level itself. Now, I can enjoy the level a little bit, but if there's one thing I can agree on, is the level looks bad. And I mean really bad. Like, Reunion is just, the texture quality is not that good. It's very, like, the lighting, oh my goodness, the lighting's like almost worse than Halo 4's lighting, but...
To me, it seems like throughout the game, the quality sort of goes down. In the beginning sequences, they're like, okay, we need to impress our audience. We're going to make this first level look amazing, and we're going to astonish the fans. But by the end of the game, they sort of just like, oh my gosh, they gave up on some of it and just like, we're about to release our game, so we're going to go ahead and put in these crappy sort of, I guess, lighting and texture work just so they can, because they kind of got lazy at the end of the game,
Well, yeah, and not only that, but it's like graphically speaking, I don't know if it's just me, but when you get to the really good cutscenes, like even the cutscenes look a bit odd to me. It's like, now the in-game cutscenes I have no problem with, except, well, one thing, I don't want them in-game. I don't understand why they can't spend money on CGI cutscenes like they could for Halo 2 Anniversary.
I know, it just seems like this game was downgraded from Halo 2 Anniversary. Like, that game looked like a movie. In this game, it looks like a game, you know? And I understand that it's not supposed to be this amazing, and we're not going to beat the game down to the crap just for having not the best graphics in the world, but I don't know, it just like, it seems like we've seen Halo do better than this. And once you see a game do better than what they've already accomplished, it sort of feels like you're stepping back. You know, you see Halo 2 Anniversary and you're like, okay, this is now the standard for Halo.
Now, I do disagree on one thing, though. Halo 2 Anniversary in-game, I don't like that much. Like, in-game graphics, but the cutscenes for Halo 2 Anniversary were absolutely incredible. They were, well, like he said, it was basically, the cutscenes were almost like movie-like. But it's like when you get to the Halo 5, like even, you know, there's few cutscenes in the game that actually do look CGI-ish, even though they are in-game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even those look a bit weird, because I don't know if it's just me, but the CGI-looking cutscenes look insanely clayish in a way.
Oh yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Like, the art style looks unnatural.
The skin of the characters, they don't look like skin sometimes. Sometimes, like, the different body molds that are being put into the game, they don't fit. It's hard to explain, and you'd have to look deep into the game.
Like, if you see Agent Locke at, like, the end of the game, when he, spoiler alert, he, like, rescues Master Chief on Cortana, and the cutscene comes up where he takes off his helmet and stuff, his face looks nearly nothing like he looked at the beginning of the game, just because the art style kind of, like...
They sort of just, at the very end of the game, it sort of feels like they kind of got a bit lazy when it came to the art style at the end of the game. They just sort of...
It was a bit weird.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird in that aspect, so I don't know what...
Now, okay, I guess enough with the graphics, because, you know, I bet we're going to have a lot more people dealing with that, including, you know, like, late night. But, let's talk about, you want to talk about the gameplay first, or the level design?
I guess it's up to you. I guess we can do level design.
Sure. Now, there's a strength and weakness about the level design. One thing I like about the level design personally is, one, I like... Well, this kind of mixes with the graphical look. There's many locations. But the problem with the level design in gameplay standpoint, because, you know, we already discussed graphics, is the level design... I don't know if it's just me, but every level, really, to be honest, despite minor differences, really felt the same.
Yeah, it does. It feels sort of the same, and that's one thing that I didn't it feels repetitive in a way. You know, it doesn't feel like when you're playing the levels, it doesn't really feel too much different. You're maybe accomplishing something different in the game, but it just feels the same when doing it. It's kind of... I don't know. And then, like, there's not much vehicular gameplay, because a lot of the times in previous Halo games, they'll give you this flat plane just to pretty much drive around. You know, remember when you were driving those Hornets in Halo 3 and you were taking out all the taking out the Phantoms and stuff? That was, like, a whole sandbox of just plain air vehicles.
Well, that's the thing. What 343 doesn't understand is Halo isn't linear level. It's not built like that. It's supposed to be built as sandbox. Like, okay, you're put into a sandbox, you have your bad guys, you have your good guys, you have these weapons, you have these vehicles, you have the objective on the other side, make something happen.
Like, the only time you're actually flying in the game is with the Phaetons, and then when you actually are, you're in this, like, small little cave thing that's just guiding you, carefully giving you the things to shoot at, sort of forcing you to shoot at different things. It felt very linear. You're just like, can I just please play the game? Well, like in different Halo games, they would give you like a Phaeton. Well, there is no Phaetons in previous Halos, but
Hornets.
They would give you like a Hornet, and you would go around and do the objective your own way. Well, in this, they're just like,
Well, think of like even Halo Reach. Halo Reach had the Falcon in that city. You know, you had that massive city with the Falcon, and you could blow up Banshees and Phantoms, and like you had to like take out Covenant snipers and stuff. It was
yeah, it's like I feel like they give you they try to replicate the original Halos, but in a very smaller scale, and they try to make it look bigger by these giant sandboxes. But a lot of the times, it's just like...
Well, they use a skybox to give you the illusion that's bigger, which, okay, while that is, I will say that while I do find that an accomplishment in the graphical side,
like it's
gameplay, it does no effect.
I know, like the skybox, that's what I meant to say. The skybox just is, okay, it looks cool, but it doesn't...
It has no effect on the game.
Yeah, it's...
So, like, the level design is just very... It just feels monotonous. It's like you play it... It's like you can play through the campaign once and have a lot of fun with it. And especially if you play on co-op, there actually is pretty fun reasons to revisit them. But it's like there's no reason to really... If you want to just revisit to shoot things, then yeah, you got it. But if you wanted a special level to really play and say, I'm going to play the campaign for this level, for this sequence, you're not going to get that in this game.
And in some points, I don't... Like, the game is replayable, but you're not going to have a really good time replaying it unless you're with co-op friends. It's just like... I mean, like, it's fun, but I don't really see a reason. If I want to go into a game just to shoot things, I would go into, like, Halo 3 or something. I wouldn't really choose Halo 5 because there's sort of... It's a game that you could do that, but it requires... You want friends to do it, and you just... I don't know. I really wish that was just different, more, they let you go more. They stopped holding your hand more.
Now, do you believe that, do you believe you would have enjoyed the campaign more your first time around if you played it on co-op? Like, do you think the level design is specifically designed for co-op?
It's not like it's unplayable by co-op, because you have the AI that replicates the co-op experience, but it's nowhere near what really an actual player is. To have your best experience...
But do you believe it was built for co-op in mind?
Yeah, I was. Which is good. I want co-op in mind, but guess what? When there's no people you're playing with these AI that are pretty dumb.
Well, what needs to be happening is like, the problem is, the AI is competent in the sense if you compared them to, like, a Marine from the previous Halos, but they're not. They're supposed to be 3 other legitimate bad A's, but they're not. They're just these other generic people you can really just order around and do stuff, but it's just... They're not really self-sufficient. It's like you can't really have one really rely on its own. You know, on like co-op where it's for actual sentient beings. It's like, so you can do a bunch of cool things. You can use flanking tactics. You can use different stuff like that. But with the AI, you can't do any of that. And the level design really does complement co-op because there's a lot of... alternate paths in the game. You know how they have like those multiple tunnels and stuff?
Yeah. There's like, I mean, like, it's the AI sometimes they get in your way sometimes more than they help you. You try to order them in some places and they help you, but it just feels like sometimes I'm just like, ugh. And then like sometimes their AI has a brain for it and they don't revive you, and a lot of stuff glitches out sometimes. The AI isn't polished the way it is. Like, it's built in mind, but I kind of just wish they would go back to the original Halo design.
Not only that, but one decision that's really dumb, if you're going to build a game with co-op in mind, okay, this is kind of off topic, but it's just something worth mentioning. If they are going to build a game with co-op in mind, then why did you not bring in co-op matchmaking?
I know, like, if this game is for co-op, why isn't there co-op matchmaking and split screen, you know? Okay, I know I've gone over this about 1,000,000 times, But seriously, the one game that I would actually want split screen is this game because this is the one game for it.
Well, yeah, it's the one game where you can literally say it's funner with the split screen. Okay, every Halo was funner with multiple people, but it was like you could tell the previous Halos weren't designed for a co-op experience. They were designed for a solo experience. It's just you could have those extra people around if you wanted to. But this was the first Halo game that literally wanted you to play in co-op. That literally said, play this game on co-op to have the best experience possible.
And they sort of take away the ways to have co-op experiences. Because think about it. Okay, I know you might sound like a loser if you don't have many friends on Xbox or anything.
Well, you're not always going to have people available.
Yeah, you're not going to always have friends to play with. So when you don't have friends to play with and you want to play Halo 5 co-op, you have no options because there's no matchmaking.
What, like, compare it to Halo Reach. Halo Reach, you had co-op matchmaking. So it's like, you know, let's just say you don't have enough friends online because let's just say you're playing the game early in the morning. Well, you can still play it on co-op because you can play with 3 other random people. Now, yes, it won't be as enjoyable as if you're playing with your friends, but it's still a fun co-op experience that is worthwhile.
Yeah, because nowadays I will not play Halo 5's campaign unless I have a friend to play it with. It's just not really enjoyable to me.
Well, yeah, it just somewhat contradicts the point. It's just like, you want a game for co-op, but you don't build the necessary tools required to encourage the co-op system.
Yeah,
But, okay, I guess the rambling on the co-op level design is enough, I guess. Let's talk about gameplay, like how the game feels, how the game plays, how the enemy AI is, how your teammate AI is, and just all that.
Well, the teammate AI, to me, it's like, I don't know, sometimes it's really good AI, and then sometimes it's not. Like, sometimes it's
really depending on the time and place.
Yeah, sometimes I'll order them to shoot something, they'll go ahead and shoot it, and then sometimes I'm down, I need to be revived, and they sit there and do nothing. It's just like, they're very inconsistent, to be honest.
Well, that's the thing. They lack consistency. It's like, if the AI stayed on their good points, like, if the AI were on their good points, but stayed on their good points the entire game,
then they'd be good.
Yeah, then they'd be useful. And then you could actually somewhat forgive some minor issues with the AI, but it's like, no. Like, for example, when you order them to revive you, even when they go to revive you, they just go straight to you mindlessly, regardless if there are enemies shooting them.
I know, and then when they start reviving you, they end up getting shot, and then they go down and stuff. It's just like...
Like, no offense, if you play this game on Legendary and you get down, do not count on your AI to revive you. So don't be charging at the enemy saying, oh, if I die, my teammates are going to revive me. They won't.
Yeah.
Okay, they'll try to, but they'll probably just end up getting down themselves.
Yeah.
But the enemy AI though is, well, I don't really see any complaints. Really, the enemy AI is really the same they've always been, except there has been slight modifications to them to compensate for the co-op. Based up, like I said, half of this game is literally just built for co-op, but it's kind of just like a minor upgrade treatment, I guess. It's like where it learns to adapt to multiple opponents.
Yeah, it's just trying to, like, sort of... the more players you have, the more difficult it's going to be, because, you know, if you have 4 players, it's going to be easier.
Well, yeah, like, now there is one cool AI feature I like that's actually one I'd say keep in the next Halo. I like the Hunters on Berserker mode, where you know how you kill one of the hunters and then the other one gets insanely, like goes in rage mode.
Well, yeah, it's just a cool AI tactic. I like that.
Well, yeah, it's kind of cool. It makes the enemies feel a bit more alive in that section, but it's like, the problem is that, so basically, yeah, really, there's not much to talk about the AI, yes, but aside from some of the minor modifications, they're really just the same as they were in Halo 4. So that's really about it in that part. But What else? What do you think of the vehicles in the game?
Again, I feel like 343 missed the mark with the vehicles, because, okay, they introduced a new Phaeton, but again, it's sort of just like one of those vehicles that's like one person, and it's just like...
Well, a lot of the vehicles like teamwork, which sort of sucks to me.
Yeah, like, why can't they make vehicles that require two people that you can actually play with? You know, another co-op thing that could have helped.
Well, there's one gameplay modification they actually made. Now, this mechanic is sort of a double-edged sword. You know how you can hold A and you can switch the seat of like your Warthog or something?
That's actually a good thing they introduced from Battlefield.
Well, from Battlefield, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword in here because while it does help, while it does make it funner in the way of knowing that, okay, let's just say there were 3 guys on your Warthog and your gunner just got shot off. Well, you know, hey, the passenger guy can switch to the turret, which is useful. But at the same time, at least in my opinion, it kind of forgoes some of the teamwork in the game. Because it's like nowadays, if you play absolute solo, I'm talking not even with the AI, you can still like make the Warthog insanely effective. Because it's like you can just drive somewhere, hold a position, and just switch to the turret.
It sort of just kind of messes up teamwork, because think about it. If you can just man an entire Warthog by yourself, like when you want to shoot, you press A. When you want to drive, you press A. Then it's just like, I don't really see the need for a passenger. I always needed, not a passenger, a gunner. You always needed a gunner to make the Warthog effective. You need someone to drive and someone to gun. But if you can just press A, switch to the gunner, and kill things, and then when you want to drive, you go back.
Which kind of sucks, because I love honking my horn at people to get them on my Warthog.
Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, Halo was so hilarious for that. But, back to the subject. Another thing is, well, yeah, so the vehicles are a bit of a hit and miss. And also, I wish there was more levels with vehicles. And not only that, but it's just the vehicles felt very underwhelming in a way. Because it's like, you're introduced to the cool new Phaeton. You only get to use it twice, though. And one of those times, you're just in a linear cave with nothing to really do with it except just shoot enemies. It's like...
I'm telling you right now, there's very little vehicular gameplay. You have the Phaeton moment, which is linear as crap. Then
now the one against the Kraken is a tad bit better, but
yeah, that one's better. It's still like that It's still you're just in that giant circle shooting things. It's not that giant sandbox, but
it's better.
Yeah, and then you have the Banshees in the beginning, which is sort of the same as the Kraken. You're in that circle, just shooting those targets, which is kind of just repetitive.
Well, that's the thing. Half of the levels is just a big circle. That's really what it is. It's just like like if you look at this gameplay, it's just like
you're putting a giant circle and you just like shoot those
you put enemies and you shoot them. That's really this is nowhere near the same linearity as Call of Duty or even Halo 4.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but for a Halo game,
it's still like, are you kidding me? Now this is more of a complaint with the level design than the gameplay, but it's like the Halo's campaigns were known for massive level design. That was their appeal. That's why they were so loved. It's like you could go on Halo 3 and have this massive war ground that you could play on that was really a big sandbox, and what you could do with that sandbox turned it to a toy box, basically, where you could practically do almost anything.
And to be honest, there's not really that one level that's memorable. Like in Halo, there's always those levels that are memorable, but in Halo 5, there's not. And think about it. There's always that one level that's sort of like the Warthog run. Like in Halo 3, they had the Warthog run, obviously, and then in Halo 4, they followed up with the Ghost run, where even the Ghost and the whole world was destroying and stuff.
I know the run thing is always a big Halo tradition.
I know, that's always a memorable level. That was one of my favorite levels in Halo 4, and seriously, they don't even have that in 5.
Now, granted, they do have that minor Warthog, run thing when the Guardian's waking up, but it's there's no blowing up stuff or anything. You just drive to this other location and then you're good.
Yeah, it's not really anything, I guess, it's not really anything that you're sort of, breathing heavy, you're okay, we have to go, and it's just
Well, it's fun. If you, one thing I did is that when I played Halo 3 on, Legendary, on co-op with a friend of mine. We were doing the Warthog run on the final level, and we were sweating through the entire level. We were like, oh my gosh, we have to keep driving. Oh, watch out, the explosions there.
It's the whole Warthog run thing is sort of fun as its own. Like, not only as a level, you can race your friends, seeing, oh my gosh, you can get to the end of the sort of level quicker. You know, it's fun.
But it had a high adrenaline and stuff. But it's like, not only that, but what's even weirder, like, what's even more... But it wasn't just Warthog runs. It was like taking on the Scarabs. It was like driving across a bridge with a Scorpion tank. It was like flying the Banshees to destroy a couple of Phantoms. It's like taking the Hornet on a bombing run. It was all this cool, memorable sequences, but it's like Halo 5 doesn't use that to their favor. It's just like, screw it. We'll just... Like, the problem with 343 is... What's funny about 343 in a way, at least in my opinion, people complain that 343 takes too many risks with Halo, but in my opinion, they don't take enough risks. The problem is, they take risks without taking risks. It's like they make something new.
They take a risk by not taking a risk.
Like, they put something new in the game, but they sort of half-ate it. It's like, for example, like, oh, cool, you have this cool new squad system. But there's no complex options with it. It's like, you just press up on the D-pad, the end. It's like, it'd be cool if you, like, there's one game I played on my PlayStation, for example, which was a squad-oriented game, where you can hold the D-pad, and then it gives you a bunch of complex orders you could use.
Like, seriously, guys, the only real order you can give someone to help you is either reviving you or just go shoot something. I wish you could individually order someone to fall back, attack, shoot.
Well, that's the thing. Things. That's the biggest thing. You can't order them individually. It's an all or nothing situation. It's like, it'd be nice if you could say, hey, Vale, go down and take care of that elite down there. Tanaka, take the high ground advantage. Buck, you're with me. We'll go get this cool Scorpion tank. You know, it'd be cool having these complex-based options, but instead they just sacrifice it for, I don't know, why, like, just to prevent themselves from doing a high risk, which is the problem. And that's half of the problem with the co-op system. Like, the co-op system would have worked if the AI was... Basically, like, if the AI was complex, if it had complex options, if it had different things you could order them around. Like, if they made the AI actually feel like big other Spartans that were, you know, really cool and actually were self-sufficient, but they depended as you as a leader, not just as a player, then the AI and squad system would have worked, and you wouldn't have required the co-op to still have a really fun experience.
And the thing is I feel like when I'm ordering my teammates, or I guess like the squads, you know, when I'm ordering like everyone around, I feel like I'm alone. I feel like they can't do anything for themselves. Like, they're babies. Like, they can't shoot something on their own. Can you please just be an actual Spartan and do this and help me instead of me having to tell you?
And I don't care what 343 says about, oh, they want to make the player feel like the hero. Who cares? This isn't a superhero movie. It's a Halo game.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, I don't want the freaking AI to be OP as crap and do all the killing, but at least make them more competent than what they actually are.
Well, probably the complex order system would help.
Yeah.
Which I'd recommend. Like, I'm serious. Like, instead of having like instead of having that stupid, like, you know, like, they should have it where down on, like, up on the D-pad opens like a cool
You have a bunch of different orders that you can give your teammates.
Well, kind of like Battlefield. You know how in Battlefield 4 you can hold a certain button and then it'll give you a slot of all the options you can use to order your team? Granted, it's a multiplayer, but still. Give us something like that. Where it'll say, hey, go up the ridge. Hey, take care of this, and, like, take care of all the elites. Hey, watch out for that 100. Make us... And, you know, each time the slot changes as you would progress through the levels. So it's complex. It's not like, oh, it's the same thing over and over. As you progress through the level, the different options.
Like I want
change.
I want this sort of like ordering system. I want it to be less of a gimmick that just is a small part of the game and more of a mechanic that you can actually use.
Well, I want a mechanic to make it part of the game where like
Yeah.
because White Knight actually used to say something before the game released that it didn't apply this way, but it should have, where it said the way you lead your squad will make or break you. It should have worked that way, where you had an enemy, the Covenant or Prometheans, who were really highly skilled, highly adaptive, very complex. Because no offense, yes, I love that the Halo AI for the enemies is still smart, but I'm really wanting the AI to start to really evolve and really become insanely complex. And it'd be nice having that with a complex AI system for your teammates where you can order them to deal with certain enemies. Like, you know what would be cool? What if the Sword Elites had energy shields on their left arm so they could block bullets from the front, unless if you, like, snuck to them from the side or threw grenades at them or something.
Well, yeah, just implement stuff that's, I guess,
Different.
yeah, different.
But instead of half-aing it, go full out.
And you can tell 343 was sort of lazy with things they did, because they freaking used, like, different same freaking environments. They didn't even take the time to build new ones. Like, there's this one glitch in the game.
Reunion.
Yeah, and where you could just stand on a different part of the, like, map.
And the entire skybox changes.
Yeah, like, literally a whole Guardian would pop up. Like, seriously, that is just...
like the fact of the matter is, now I guess the last thing we can talk about, I guess, because I think we talked about the complex systems we would like in with more vehicle missions and stuff. Like, I want the next Halo game to feel almost like, instead of like what arena looks and stuff, I want it to feel like, you know how Warzone sort of is with the chaos and stuff? I want that in the campaign. Make it chaotic. Make it a big battlefield. Make it like you're in the middle of this massive war zone. Make something happen. That's what the level design and the gameplay should feel like. And probably the last thing we should discuss, I guess, is the story.
Oh yeah, the story. We're running out of time, so we might have to do this in a different video.
I can extend it.
Oh. Okay, well, the story, this is the worst part about it. Like, the level design is iffy, but this is just plain atrocious. Like, the freaking... From square one, the story is bad. Like, starting off with Joel Adama, he freaking just gets killed off in the beginning of the game, like he was not even a character at all.
Well, Osiris also has, like, no explanation to their existence.
Yeah, that was just... Yeah, I don't know. It was stupid, and... That was the first thing where I realized, okay, this is already starting to piss me off.
Well, like, the death of Joel Adama, it was like... Okay, I wasn't mad because it was just, like, the beginning of the game. Now I was like, wait, what? But I felt weird. It just didn't feel right to me. I was just like, that was a very strange move they made.
Yeah, like, and it's sort of like they were just doing...
It just got worse from there.
Yeah, it got worse from there, and then you could tell they were just trying to do cleanup duty from Halo 4.
And what's funny is, like, at the end of the game... Like, okay, this is where me and Dusk Thunder disagree on. He hates the idea of Cortana being a villain, while I, for one, said I'd be okay with it if they did it right. Now, okay, I don't want to get into that debate again, but if there's one thing we can agree on, is if they were gonna do this idea, do it right. They did it.
I don't agree with the fact that Cortana should be the bad guy, but if they're going to do it, at least do it right. Come on, seriously? I'd rather them just do it the way they intentionally was going to do it from, like, all the, like, hype that was in the back where they were doing, like, the Haunt of Truth series.
Well, that's the story. That's the thing. It's like this. Now, the only reason we're not comparing this to the Haunt of the Truth ad stories is just because that'll make this video go on forever by comparing.
Okay, yeah, seriously. If we talked about...
We're just talking about the story we got, okay? I'll make a separate video explaining why. Well, I think I've already did. I made my story review video a while back, so if you want to see me compare the stories between those two, just watch that video. But we're talking about the story we actually got, not the one we would have necessarily wanted, or even the one that was said would be given to us. But the point of the matter is that the problem with the story is just like, it's like the ideas for the story are well made, but it's like the execution of those ideas are really poor. Okay, I won't say they're flat out the executions are absolute garbage, because it's like I have seen games with worse, like, stories far worse than this. And I'm not okay, if you take the story on its own right, it is at least okay. It's like if you compare it to like COD Advanced Warfare, then you could say it's a good story. But if you compare it to the past Halos, especially Halo 4, you're crap
Okay,
out
dude,
of luck.
literally. Okay, this is what Late Night said. He said that this is literally a bad story. Like, there was, like, Halos where, like, he didn't like the story as much as other Halos, but he literally said this one's bad even compared to other games. And that's saying something if Late Night says that. So, this story was probably one of the worst Halo stories.
Well, it's like, it's poorly executed and stuff. Like, think of, okay, I'm just gonna say out of a laugh thing. Do you know, like, you know how Chief and Cortana were, like, talking to each other, and Cortana was, like, saying all this stuff, and, like, Chief was being frozen, and he was like, Cortana, and Cortana's like, goodbye, John, and it looks so comic booky. It looks so comic-y.
Oh, yeah. I guess that explains why.
Well, that explains Brian Reed.
Yeah.
That basically sums Brian Reed of his storytelling.
Okay, guys, seriously, Brian Reed needs to get fired. No, I'm not even kidding at this point, because, okay, Brian Reed's going to be in Halo 6.
Yeah, Dust Under 9, I'm sorry to say, but he's basically the head writer for all the Halos in the future. Okay, I'm just saying, I have hope that he'll learn from this, but if he doesn't, I am very worried about the Halo stories in the future. I really am.
Because seriously, guys, Brian Reed, he's just bad. Okay, I know he's gonna be in the next one, but he better get his act together. Otherwise, this franchise's story is gonna go to crap.
Yeah, I agree there. But, like, the story's just very poorly executed. Very just like, I just don't get the behind it. It's just like it just lacks a lot of things.
Yeah, it feels a lot like it wasn't. It feels like it feels like a comic book. That, like, the cutscenes were really short. They were quick. They felt like they wanted to get themselves over.
Well, it was funny because you know how like Roland was, yelling at like Thomas Lasky and stuff and saying like, why is Cortana the problem? Because she refused to die when she was supposed to, and then it just fades to black, and I'm just like, wait. That's it? I thought they were going to make a cool point or something.
Yeah, like, literally, it's like freaking 30-second cutscenes that mean nothing. Like, why the crap would you have... You could literally say this with words in-game.
There's only, like, 2 cutscenes that is longer than 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like, seriously, it's stupid. It's, like, one of those things where they're just, like, put in this cutscene for no apparent reason at all and just get it over with so we can keep going with this game and just get this stupid campaign over with. That's literally, like, what they try to do.
And, I guess we can talk about the characters since we're in the middle of the story, I guess.
Yeah, the characters. Oh, wait, what can we talk about the characters? Because there's barely any character development in this game.
Well, now there's, okay. So, for the characters, okay, for how the characters were, the characters and personality and stuff, like, let's just say the characters' good traits. Let's start with the good points. So much for the good points. Let's move on. Now, okay, let's start with our main intro characters. We have Fireteam Osiris, led by Agent Locke.
Okay, so what do we know about Agent Locke?
Nothing.
Yeah. He's just the random black guy in the game. Seriously, what do we know about him? He's just in the game and he's just
And
I don't
I'm-
even know. Okay, this is freaking
And we're not counting Nightfall. Okay?
yeah. Seriously.
I
Okay.
get Nightfall gave a little bit. Okay, no
Night-
offense. I get Nightfall was a tad bit of a backstory, but think of it. Nightfall had no relevance to Halo 5.
Yeah. No. Literally, none of this.
Well, like, how the heck did he become a Spartan? Why did he become a fire team leader? What did he have to do to get these ranks? Like,
And from the Escalation comics, from like day one, we were always wondering what happened. How did Chief get that crack in his visor? And we realized it was just one punch in the face by Locke. Like seriously.
Okay, we'll skip to that part later when we discuss
Yeah. Okay.
Chief.
Oh yeah. I forgot we're talking about Locke.
But not only that, but it's just like Locke is a boring character. We were expecting 343 was how 343 was making such a big deal about saying Locke. We weren't just trying to create a second Chief. We wanted to create this brand new character with his own personality, his own motivations and stuff. No offense, that is complete BS.
Yeah, they really missed the mark when they were doing character development. Not even Locke, but literally just the entire fire team Osiris. We really don't get to know much about any of them. They give them like a small backstory, and then they don't even go into them at all. Like, character development is almost non-existent in this game.
Well, Locke is like Master Chief, but a tad bit more,
Talkative?
yeah, that's really all he
Yeah,
is.
seriously.
He's
And then-
Master Chief that talks more.
And then in this game, Master Chief is back to the old Master Chief, which you might think, oh, that's fine. But no, it's like,
People, remember the scene where Cortana died?
I know, I wanted to see more out of Chief, and now Chief is just back to his old bland self.
Well, it's like, it's stupid, because it's like, okay, no offense, Chief has no emotion behind anything. He just seems like, oh, everything's alright, I'm just the badass soldier again. No! You just went through losing everything!
I know, you feel like the emotion is gone now. I feel like it's sort of back to being bland and not even really...
Okay, and I know this is what people use arguments to defend Master Chief's character in this game. They say, like, silence is a part of depression. Well, okay, yes, that's true, but you have to sort of do a bit more when you're talking about a character that's already silent anyways.
And dude, even when he met up with Cortana again, like, the evil Cortana, he didn't really show much emotion.
He was just like, you changed, and blah blah blah, come home, blah blah blah. Dude, he should have had emotional breakdowns during that moment. He should have literally gone like, how are you alive? How are you here? And he should have like reacted if Cortana's playing. He should have been like, Cortana, don't do this, please.
Yeah.
Or he should have said something awesome. Like, you know how Master Chief was hinting how Cortana was becoming, like, Halsey when he said, like, Cortana was saying, I want to give people a chance to be more than they are naturally, and Chief says, like Dr. Halsey did to me, and she says, no, that monster forced you, this is a gift, and Chief should have said this. He should have said, listen to yourself, and then he should have said, it says, stand down. He should have said, Cortana, if you're truly the companion I know, don't make the same mistakes as the people who took away my humanity. Or something cool like that. That sounded bad, but at the same time emotional.
I know, because seriously, just like these stupid one-liners that Chief is just saying is just getting old. Please show some
In
emotion.
fact, come on. Like, okay, I didn't think about this, but it would actually have been cool if Master Chief used that exact sentence. Like, don't make the same mistakes as the people who took away my humanity.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
I know, like just at least something more than what he said in the actual game.
Well, yeah, and like, as for the rest of Osiris and Blue Team, they really have no relevance to the story. Vale and Tanaka, okay, Vale has a tad bit of potential, but it's wasted. Blue Team is just boring as heck. They really have no role. And as for Osiris, like I said, Vale and Tanaka are basically useless. Buck, no, okay, don't get me wrong, I love Buck because he's Buck, but really, in this game, he was nothing more but comic relief.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just the character development just wasn't there. You don't really get to know much about it.
Dude, even the Arbiter. Okay, I'm glad the Arbiter's back, but dude, he has like 0 role in the game.
And to be honest, dude, the only reason they even put the Arbiter in there was just because they're like,
fan service.
yeah, we're gonna put the Arbiter in there, and he'll serve no purpose at all. But you know what? We can say it. We put the Arbiter in this game. No,
Yeah.
I wish he was actually played some sort of part.
Well, yeah.
Like, it would have been sick if, like, the Arbiter and Jewel went into a battle or something. That would be sick, but,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just was wasted.
Now, let's talk about Chiefs and Locke's conflict with each other, since that was the primary advertisement of the game.
They really could have resolved this conflict with, like, 5 minutes of just explaining.
Well, yeah, like, really, it wasn't even a conflict, it was more of just, like, a miscommunication. If Chief sat down for 5 minutes and just explained to Locke everything that was going on, then Locke would have gone like, okay, we're on the same side here, and blah, blah, blah. And dude, no offense, the way they treat it is, Chief was never presumed a traitor or anything. He was just like, he disobeys one order, and then they immediately send the whole team after him. No offense, that's not the first time Master Chief has disobeyed orders.
Chief has disobeyed orders plenty of times. Like, what happens when he's like, give me Cortana? He's like, no, with that bad A voice and stuff.
Well-
They didn't do anything about that.
Well, basically, it's just stupid because it's like, okay, are we honestly, okay, in the trailers we were meant to sort of believe it, which actually was somewhat believable, but without those trailers being relevant, it's like, come on, if Master Chief just left without any evidence of anything else, no one would believe he actually lost it and went rogue.
To be honest, the trailers give a better description of, like, the story than the game, to be honest.
Well, that is if the story actually happened in the game.
I know.
But it's like, oh yeah. The campaign has its fun moments. Okay, we're running out of time, and I really don't want to extend this, so I guess we should probably wrap things up. The game is fun. It's a fun campaign. It's a fun thing to play, but it has a lot of issues with the level design, with the gameplay. Probably the biggest, okay, in my opinion, three things need to happen if they're going to make Halo 6 like Halo 5, but in a similar note. You know how to make it better.
Yeah.
Have bigger scale and better level design. Make the squad system make the AI more complex for both the enemies and the allies. And make 100 times better story.
Guys, that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. Brian Reed, if you follow these steps, you can make a good
3 for 3. If you follow these steps, the top 3 things we narrowed down, then you will make an excellent campaign for it. Oh, one more thing to mention, the 4th thing, but this should be a given. Make your campaign longer. Don't lie to us about saying it's the longest Halo campaign to date, and make it only like 4.5 hours long.
Yeah, 3, 4, 3, because you guys actually are lying.
At least 8 hours. At least. That should be the bare minimum.
And also make it bigger, because seriously, this is not the biggest Halo game ever. This is actually one of the smallest. Okay.
So follow those 4 steps, and you'll do great, okay? So thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Please like it up, subscribe, and check out Dust Thunder's channel as well. We'll see you next time, guys. Peace out.
Peace.